Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 6. So The Flash Season 5, unlike most seasons, did not end with a major cliffhanger. And I'm not counting the newspaper date changing, as that was more of like a crisis connection setup rather than Flash Season 6 setup, but yeah. So there was like no singularity opening up, threatening to destroy Central City, or, Barry running back in time, saving his mother and changing the timeline. Nothing like that, nothing along those lines. But we did, like most seasons, get various setups with most of the characters on the show in regards to what we will be seeing them take part in next season, or just something that connects to what we have seen with them, with their characters in the past season or so. So we saw like Caitlin get a new Killer Frost, or simply Frost suit from Cisco. Joe was appointed the captain of the CCPD, and then finally we get some setup for our main man Ralph Dibny in regards to a storyline that he will have come season 6 of The Flash, which is pretty exciting. But in this video, we are going to be going over the setup for Ralph next season and where that could, exactly go, both in the nice way, I guess you could say, and also bring up some very dark stuff that I highly doubt they would do on the show, but you never know. And we will also go over some questions that some of you left on previous videos, and as always, if you have any other questions to include in videos that you're curious about, leave them in the comment section down below, as well as just your general thoughts on what we go over in this video. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and just excited for what's coming up, be sure to drop a like on the video to show that support. So when we first met Ralph on the show, he wasn't the greatest person, was he? He was a dude who, while he did the wrong thing, like what he did was wrong, he was sort of screwed over by Barry and was sent down a path of, well, just crap. But throughout season 4, after we met him, we did see Ralph develop. I know it's a word we don't hear too much with the side characters on the show outside of Barry, but yeah, we saw him develop into a fan favorite on the show and arguably the most consistent character on the show, which would surprise many people considering how he first started out on the show. But during this development of Ralph, there were people, including myself, and I'm sure some of you watching, who were waiting for a particular character who was very important to Ralph Dibny in the comics to appear on the show, or at least be mentioned by someone, or just have their name sort of planted somewhere as a bit of an Easter egg. I mean, there was even a news reporter who interviewed Ralph after his big public debut, I guess you could say, as the elongated man, who Ralph tried to sort of talk up and sort of chat up and just maybe get their number. And I thought for a moment they were going to say their name or say it was like them reporting the news or something, but that never happened. But yeah, as I was saying, as we wrapped up Season 5 of The Flash, we got all the setup for some other characters, and when it came to Ralph, we saw him put aside a farewell gift left to him by Sherlock Wells, and then pick up a folder, and it was a new case for his private investigator work, and on the file it had the name Dearborn labelled on it, or Dearborn. We'll just say Dearborn because, we'll just say Dearborn. Now, for eagle-eyed viewers, you would have seen this, and I did bring this up in my review for the finale, as I wasn't expecting to see it there and then. But for those still in the dark about all of this, what does the name of Dearborn have to do with Ralph, and why is it so important? Why should you give a damn? Well, as I was saying, this character is an important part of the character of Ralph Dibny in the comics, so yeah, let's just dive into what it means in regards to the comics, as well as what it means going forward into Season 6 of The Flash. Well, Dearborn is actually the maiden name for the character that will be later known as Sue Dibny, Ralph's wife. So yeah, Sue Dearborn will eventually become Sue Dibny like in the comics, or you think she would. The biggest issue that comes with that is whether the Flash would have enough seasons to develop their relationship to the point in which they would get married, but then again, Ralph and Sue are seen as one of the strongest pairings in the DC universe, so it wouldn't be seen as too much of a stretch, I guess you could say, to have them get to the point of marriage within a couple of seasons. But in the comics, Sue is sort of seen as an honorary Justice League member. She doesn't have any powers. She's not elongated girl or anything like that. But she has done a lot of work for them in regards to them as an organization. Now, due to Ralph Dibny being a character that started in the Flash comics, for those that didn't know, there's your little one fun fact, I guess you could say, that's also where Sue started. So Sue, in the comics history, is a Flash character. So it makes sense that she would, eventually appear on the TV show as well. Now, along with first appearing in the Flash comics, Barry Allen was also the best man at their wedding, and seeing that Barry literally has no male friends outside of Oliver, Cisco, and Ralph, the first two including a soon-to-be-dead person and a now-departed member of the team, it makes sense that Barry and Ralph grow even closer than they already are, to the point where Barry would definitely be the best man at Ralph's wedding on the show, as, well, if that happens, of course. Now, even though I did say a few times that Ralph and Sue are seen as one of the strongest and happiest couples in the DC universe, that hasn't, been the case the entire run of the comics. Sue went through some stuff which wasn't that appreciated by many readers. I did feel like they went a bit too far with it in one instance. And just a warning here for younger people watching, it gets a bit graphic here, but there was a storyline in the mid-2000s which was a sort of like whodunit murder mystery with the Justice League and supporting characters and all of that, which does seem like a cool concept. Like if you say, okay, member of the Justice League or an associated character murdered, it's up to the Justice League to sort it all out. Really cool concept. Now, the person who had been murdered and they had to find the killer of was, as you should be able to guess by now, Sue Dibny. Now, spoiler alert, I guess if you haven't read Identity Crisis, but the wife of Ray Palmer, that being Jean Loring, who in the Arrowverse is the attorney of the Queen family, so there's your second pagey fun fact for the day. Well, she is the one who committed the murder accidentally in an attempt to spread like panic amongst members of the League and their loved ones. Now, Jean caused the death of Sue by accidentally causing an aneurysm for Sue. Long story, better off just to read it. But throughout the investigation into Sue's murder, they find out that Sue had been violated, shall we say? But the word starts with an R and rhymes with vape. Now, this violation was done by Dr. Light. It's not the one we saw on the flashback in Season 2. This was the male version of the character. As I said, go read that story. It's actually a really good storyline outside of the big graphic bit, but go read it. But yeah, let's move on to happier times with Ralph and Sue. So I highly doubt we will see the events of Identity Crisis go down in that way. I mean, I would love a sort of like murder mystery in the Arrowverse of like a side character or something that causes all the heroes to come together to sort it out and like what the hell went down and to, well, get justice for their fallen friend. Like, I think that would be really cool, but I personally do love a good old murder mystery. It's just a personal, like of mine. Is that even proper English? Anyway. But in season 6 of The Flash, I would expect Ralph, once the initial like introduction of the character is done, to have a story with Sue that could maybe be, you know, be based around his PI work or private investigator work. Sue does have like, you know, minor detective skills in the comics, obviously nowhere near the level of Ralph, but they are decent enough. So maybe Ralph could help her with like whatever she's doing. We obviously don't know what her profession will be on the show, but maybe they can make her a reporter. She has had that profession in the comics before. Maybe they could have her as like a competing reporter for Iris, which would sort of kill two birds with one stone, have a storyline for Ralph, but also have, you know, a storyline for Iris, which is competing with another reporter. You know, that would cause some drama in that building if she goes to visit Ralph at work. I can just imagine Sue and Iris meeting in a corridor and just having a death stare. You know, hashtag Drama Alert Nation would definitely be reporting on that confrontation. But yeah, that's all we have from regards to the Ralph and Sue stuff. We will just do some question time from some of you guys. So shoot_HBK asked, when the newspaper changed, did the picture also change? So obviously I mentioned the 2024 newspaper article thing changing. The only thing that really changed that we should be aware of is the date. They wouldn't have shown like a picture change or a title change or a specific date change because they probably haven't even figured that specifically yet. It's a bit of a spoiler. There's no need to show us that. So if you are breaking down that newspaper change too much, you're wasting your time because the only thing that they actually properly changed was the year, 2024 to 2019. So I've seen people ask me a lot, oh my god, the picture changed, or oh my god, the date was actually August 13th or something. That's not legit, you know, that's just a coincidence that it might look like that on the screen. Only thing to focus on is the year. The Reversed asked, when will Apartment 4 make an appearance again? Will it appear during Crisis? Who knows? Apartment 4 just appears and disappears when it needs to. It's basically like the room of requirement from Harry Potter, so just imagine it like that. Stuart Grigg asked, if Barry survives Crisis, change in the future, what damage will he do to the timeline? Well, a decent amount, because obviously Nora comes from a time where he's gone. So like, it could change it, like a lot that happens with Godspeed and various things like that. So obviously that's something for us to wait and see after Crisis. Maybe that could be what causes the villain, the fact that Barry survives. So keep that in mind going into the back half of season 6 of The Flash, at least post-Crisis, that, you know, this changing timeline could mean various different things. Alex Salada asked, will 90s Flash actually do anything? I want a full episode dedicated to him. I don't think we'll get a full episode. He could appear during, you know, the Flash season 6 before Crisis. That'd be pretty cool. But I want to see more 90s Flash. I do feel like he was just a small cameo in the Elseworlds crossover when they sort of advertised him as like, oh, he's going to be in at least a decent chunk of an episode, but he was hardly there. So hopefully we get more of him in Crisis or maybe leading up to Crisis as well, but I'd be surprised if we got like a full episode with him. And to finish off, Eugenia asked the most interesting question, I think, which was, will there be doppelgangers to take the heroes' places? They die instead of the originals, which is a possibility, or we could see doppelgangers appear through Crisis who will eventually take the place of heroes that maybe die. So say like example, Wild Dog or something dies in Crisis. I'm not saying he is or he will be replaced, but just for an example, he dies in Crisis, but then like the Earth 34 version of Wild Dog takes his place when like the Earths merge. Crisis is so interesting for many, many reasons. And one of the most interesting thing is what heroes will die and what heroes will reappear or just appear due to the merging of Earths. It's going to be so interesting and I cannot wait. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Leave your various opinions and comments and further questions down there in the comments. I'm just looking forward to reading them and also maybe bringing up those questions in other videos. And of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.